Update. My girlfriend's 23 female friend kissed me, 24 male, but she's threatening to tell girlfriend something else if I say anything. Original post. I really don't know what to do. She kissed me in the hallway at my friend's house when we were all drinking last night. My girlfriend was barely getting off from work, so she wasn't there yet. She freaked out when I said I was gonna tell my girlfriend, and she said she'll tell her I pushed myself on her to kiss and touch her. She looked completely serious, as in she will, or she'll say I tried worse on her, then said who will my girlfriend believe since it was just us in the hallway. Everyone else was downstairs. I feel so bad that I didn't tell my girlfriend anything when she got there, and still thinking about it now the next morning. I want to be honest about what her best friend did, but I'm scared she's going to put the blame on me. Now for the top advice before reading the update. The longer you wait, the worse it will be. Tell her. That's true. God, this freaking sucks. Be completely honest and get ahead of it. You can't control her reaction, but it's better than being held hostage by her friend and your own mind. Tell your girlfriend, then as soon as you're done, call the best friend on your phone with girlfriend present and say, I'm going to tell girlfriend you kissed me. I can't lie to her, blah blah. And she will probably call herself out then and there. You gotta tell her now. Tell her exactly what happened, and then tell her you said you would share and she threatened you. After all we've been through, I hope she believes me. They've been friends for a year, so my fear is she'll believe anything she tells her. Do you think you might be able to get her friend to admit what happened via text? Or record her making this threat next time you see her? I would tell your girlfriend immediately either way because you want to get ahead of it, in case her friend panics and decides to say something. But it might be worth seeing if you can get her to own up if you think she might take the bait. Obviously loop your girlfriend into this as well. I didn't think about that. Not sure about the text though. She might not want to send anything that I could show to my girlfriend, but recording might work. And now for the update. Sorry to leave you guys hanging. I know many were asking for an update on my post. The last few days have been pretty crazy. For one thing, my girlfriend knows. She was shocked, but I told her the whole thing. Not only about what she did, but the fact that she threatened to lie about me doing worse. And that's why I was afraid to tell her. Also because I was worried how my girlfriend would react. She was shocked and pretty confused, like she wanted to cry. And then I learned something messed up. This isn't the first time her best friend did this. But last time it was her ex-boyfriend from high school. Only her friend told her that it was the guy who kissed her. My girl believed her friend though, and that's why it's the next now. She started crying. We hugged and talked some more. Then things got chaotic. Her now ex-friend decided to stick with her threat and told my girlfriend a completely different version where I forced myself on her. Supposedly covered her mouth and tried to freaking violate her, but she managed to push me off and go with everyone else. Only my girlfriend did believe her lie, and they had a huge fight. Obviously no longer friends, and my girlfriend was pretty devastated. I hated seeing her so hurt, and wished that this didn't have to happen. Then to make everything worse, she stuck to her word and lied to all of our friends about what happened. Made herself the freaking victim and told them my girlfriend is supporting an offender over her own friend. Like seriously, it was freaking crazy. My girlfriend couldn't believe it. That hurt her even more. Our friends had texted her non-stop telling her what an awful person she is, that I'm a freaking monster and they're encouraging her to file a police report, which she was planning to do because that's what she told her cousins. That lasted a couple days. It was so stupid though, because if something like that even happened, why would you not tell someone right away? At least some of our friends who were at a party didn't seem to buy her story. Not all of them, but at least some. We got sick of this garbage. So my girlfriend went over to her house and she convinced her to admit it was a lie. I don't know how she did that, but my girlfriend said it took a lot of talking. Plus, she managed to catch some holes in her lies. Then an hour later, she got a text from her saying she's sorry about spreading those rumors and asking if they could talk because she doesn't want their friendship to end this way. Yeah, after kissing me without consent, lying about a crime and making my girlfriend seem like the bad guy too, she doesn't want their friendship to end like that? So freaking crazy. It all drained us, to be honest. Her girlfriend wasn't in a good place and I felt bad. Tried to be there for her, hugging her whenever she cried and saying how much I love her. We didn't want to do anything for Thanksgiving because of everything, so we came here to stay at a motel by the beach the last 2 days so we could forget about stuff. She's still sad about losing someone she thought she could trust, but I'm sad for my girl. Hoping things get better from here now that she's not around. Edit. To people saying to talk to a lawyer, I realize I probably should. just so some things are on the record and this can't come back to bite me in the future. I don't know when we'll be back home, but once we get back, I'll try talking to a lawyer. Thanks. Do people already know that it was a lie? What did they say? Does the friend keep asking to be forgiven? People who believed her friend and now know the truth are still her friends? Most of them apologized to both of us and deleted some of the stuff they said to us on Instagram and Twitter. Some haven't, but I think it's because they're embarrassed. We blocked her everywhere because she wouldn't stop messaging us. If you have the financials for it, you could sue her for slander/libel. I could maybe, but this has been hard enough in my girlfriend, and I just think it's better to move on from it faster. I'd be sending some stern messages to people to take their posts down calling you an offender, or you'll see your lawyer about a libel case. Otherwise, it's up there. Your name equals offender. You can't have that out there for any future person/employer to go looking at. Then when they've done that, both of you should block these flakes from your life. They're highly dangerous to you. All of them did. It just meant there are some who haven't reached out to apologize. But the fact that they deleted all their comments suggests they know the truth now but just won't say anything to us. Keep that text message. If the friend goes nuclear, you have evidence against her. I'm so sorry you had to deal with all of this. That friend is a monster. She forced herself on you. I hope the future is bright for the two of you moving forward. We screenshot everything she sent us as proof before we blocked her. Now for the last story. My female 28 husband's male 30 older brother male 35 confessed that he's in love with me. What the hell do I do? Original post. This happened last week. I'm still shocked and have no idea what to do with this information. A little backstory. My husband and I have been friends since I was in middle school, so we've known each other and each other's families forever. We started dating after college and got married 2 years ago. Let's call my husband Greg and his older brother Michael. I've obviously known Michael just as long as I've known Greg, but in that vague peripheral way, you know, a friend's older brother. He was already well into college by the time I met and started hanging out with Greg, so until we got married I hadn't had a lot of contact with him, except for holidays when everyone was home. Michael and his wife, let's call her Stephanie, have been separated for over a year and are in the process of getting divorced. He primarily cares for their 6-year-old son. Stephanie moved out of state. Michael's a near physician and has been insanely busy since COVID started, especially since their son's daycare is still closed. Since I'm able to work remotely, I've stepped in to help out with babysitting. As a result, I've had more interaction with Michael, but still, it's not much. Just him getting home exhausted from work, saying thanks, me saying some version of no worries, happy to spend time with my nephew, and then leave. Nothing romantic, no ulterior motives, nothing weird. Then last week, as I was gathering up my laptop and stuff getting ready to go home, Michael said, "Hey, I really need to talk to you about something that's been bugging me." I honestly thought it was going to be that I had done something wrong in caring for his son, letting him do/eat something he wasn't supposed to or something like that. But then he essentially told me that he's been in love with me for years, and that his feelings toward me were a contributing factor in him leaving Stephanie, and seeing me with his son and coming home to me every night has been wonderful. He then said, "I understand you're with Greg, but I had to tell you how I feel." I sort of blacked out from shock, mumbled something about needing to get home, and left. I can't stress enough how little one-on-one contact Michael and I have had. Like, I don't think I've ever even hugged him. If you added up all the words we've ever spoken to each other, it might comprise a 30-minute conversation. He was almost like a father/teacher figure to me. I certainly don't feel the same way about him, and I'm blown away that not only is he apparently in love with me, how, but I was a contributing factor in his divorce? Which means Stephanie knows how he feels. Because I know some problematic people will ask, no, I have never led him on, or in anything even remotely revealing in front of him, texted him about anything other than childcare logistics, or spent more than 10 minutes alone with him. I'm honestly more confused than anything, because from my perspective, he knows nothing about me. Like, we barely talk. How the hell can you think he's in love with me? I've avoided him entirely since it happened, saying I had a bunch of meetings and couldn't babysit last week, which I feel really guilty about because I love spending time with my nephew. I haven't told anyone else, especially my husband. Please help. This is so far above my pay grade, and probably above Reddit's as well, but I have no idea what to do. I don't want to cause a weird rift between brothers, or not be able to see my nephew anymore. Any advice is welcome. Thanks. Now for the top advice before reading the update. Tell your husband what's going on and explain that's why you've been dodging his brother. Brother-in-law may think he's in love, but most likely is using what he thinks he knows about you as an ideal to hold up for his failed marriage. This, as you've pointed out, brother-in-law barely knows you. He's created an idea of you in his mind and fallen in love with it. This sometimes happens when people are unhappy in their lives and close themselves off from being involved in the people around them. He was likely unhappy with his wife, and during that time continued to imagine a life with you, building you up into someone you have never been. Be sure to mention this to your husband. I think that your brother-in-law needs clear boundaries, but not a kick in the teeth. He likely needs therapy. Step 1. Show husband this post. The information is going to cross husband's path eventually, and it's really important that you're the one to tell him. You don't want him finding out. Plus, finding out you know. Plus, you elected not to tell him. Real step 2. Avoid contact and start treating your mental and emotional health. Blacking out from stress is a sign of trauma, but just like any wound, can heal. Green grass, blue skies. Tell your husband. The brother needs to be called out on his stupidity. Sounds like has had tough run. Might have got a bit too intense and found comfort in any female close proximity. It happens. Maybe Michael isn't in love with you. I'm not saying you're not a catch, but maybe he's in love with the idea of you. Do you know why his marriage ended? But perhaps he saw you and Greg together and was thinking about how you don't fight or how you look happy together, etc., etc., and saw those things missing in his marriage. It could be just more fake crush than an actual I've loved you since day one. But you need to tell your hubby ASAP. You don't want him to find out from your soon-to-be ex-sister-in-law calling him saying, "It's your wife's fault my marriage is over." Now for the update. This is going to be super long, but here it goes. My husband is my best friend. Has been since I was 12 years old. Keeping this from him for 5 days was the hardest thing I've ever done. I was sick to my stomach and could barely sleep. A special FU to those commenters who insinuated that I was lying and had actually been in love with / sleeping with Michael the entire time. And I'm using this as an excuse to get out of cheating. Who hurt you? I knew even before posting on here that I needed to tell my husband. But being the conflict-averse, socially awkward / anxious person I am, I sort of hoped this would all go away if I just ignored it like nothing happened, or pretend I had gone spontaneously deaf. I didn't want it to turn into some huge deal that made every family get-together impossibly awkward. But the responses I received here were overwhelmingly, "Tell your goddamn husband." Yesterday, Tuesday morning, I told my husband everything. His initial response, no joke, was laughing. "What?" Followed immediately by, "Oh my god, this is totally my fault." Incredulous, I asked him how this could possibly be his fault. He explained that when Michael and Stephanie were still married, whenever they would have issues in their relationship, Michael would confide in Greg, who in turn would offer his advice and support. Being a protective little brother and upset about how Michael was being treated by his wife, Greg would apparently always use me as the good example, in contrast to Stephanie's bad. She was a bit of an a-hole, to be fair, insisting that Michael deserved better, deserved to have a relationship like we did, a wife who loved him as much as I love Greg. And then pointed out the obvious, that this was neither his fault nor mine, and that Michael was definitely not in love with me, but the idea of me. First as the wife he wanted but did not have, then as the mother to his child. We agreed that the situation has been compounded by the unimaginable stress he's been under since COVID, and he probably saw me as the only stable, loving presence in his and his son's life. Because my husband is the kindest, most empathetic, most amazing man on earth, and probably a better brother than Michael deserves, to be honest, he wasn't even angry. He was sad. He knew as well as I did that Michael was not actually in love with me. We agreed we would talk to Michael together, suggest therapy, and continue supporting him and caring for our godson. We also agreed that no matter what happened, we would not let that little boy be the collateral damage in this awkward, unnecessary mess, especially when his parents have divorced. His own mother has all but abandoned him, and a global pandemic has prevented him from seeing his kindergarten friends as often. He needs and deserves a stable, loving, normal environment in which to be a kid. Greg and I decided that we would watch our nephew together yesterday, at our house. Greg texted Michael that we would be working from home, and to drop the boy off on his way to the hospital. When Michael got off work and came to pick up his son, I was upstairs leaving them to talk. After they had talked for about an hour and a half, Greg called me downstairs. Both of them had been crying. Michael apologized to me and to Greg, profusely. Total mea culpa. He insisted his intention in confessing his feelings was meant more as a compliment to what an amazing wife I am to Greg, and how happy you make my son. And that was what motivated him to finally leave Stephanie 2 years ago. Not wanting to be with me and take me away from Greg, but realizing that I, or more realistically someone like me, was what he wanted/deserved. He said he realized it was selfish of him to unload his feelings on me like that. And he knew I wouldn't reciprocate them, but that he felt he would go insane if he didn't just freaking say something, with everything else on his plate right now. He said he had been feeling this way for a couple of years and planned to just work through it alone and take it to his grave, but that it just sort of came out like word vomit, and he never in a zillion years would have acted on it. Michael also made a point to underscore the fact that these romantic feelings toward me are quite new, developing about 5 years ago, and were in no way predatory, since he's known me since I was 12 and he was 20. Michael agreed to seek therapy. Greg and I even offered to join him at the sessions if he thought it would be helpful. Greg and I will also still be helping him with his son. He works insane hours, and is new to the whole single dad thing. Any babysitting will be done at our house, not Michael's from now on. For those pointing out that Michael can afford alternate childcare for his son, that's not the point. His son, our godson, needs a stable environment filled with family and routine, since his life has been pretty much uprooted by the divorce, his mom leaving, and the pandemic. Until his school resumes in-person classes next spring, we'll care for him as a family. Greg and Michael's sister and parents, while they know nothing of this mess, share in the responsibility as well, so it would not be totally in our hands. All in all, I don't think any of us could have hoped for a better outcome to this weird situation. Happy to have everything out in the open so we can move forward. Thanks again for all of your advice and kind words. I have the best husband, salt of the earth that one. First story is titled, Am I the a-hole for kicking my brother out when he came to see his wife? I, female 26, have 2 sisters and 1 brother. He's 7 years older. I don't have a good relationship with him because of what he did to our younger sister. My younger sister left when she was 18 and I haven't seen her ever since. However, I have a good relationship with his wife. She's a very nice and generous young lady. I don't get involved in her issues with my brother, and I don't judge her for being with him, although he has issues. The two have their share of arguments. His wife had issues and miscarried twice before. She got pregnant again and made it to her 2nd trimester. My brother was happy and looked at ease and calmer than usual. This was the family's first baby boy, as my older sister has 1 daughter. Unfortunately, his wife miscarried on her 5th month. It was devastating for her, but my brother argued with her for days and told the family it was her fault for working, which is wrong. She came to my house last Tuesday with her bags, asking if she could stay for a few days because she got into an argument with my brother. She was a mess, she lost weight, she was crying and was too tired to do anything. I cooked for her, and I made arrangement with a therapist to help her. She doesn't reply to my brother's calls and texts, and she says she doesn't want to see him for now for her health. She repeatedly asked me to respect her wish and not pressure her to see him, but I'd never do that. He came to my house wanting to see her. I told him I'm no contact with him, so he has no right to come inside. He said he was there for his wife. I told him she didn't want to talk to him. He lashed out, telling me to mind my business and not get involved. I told him she said that, and he said I lied. He demanded I let him come in, but I refused. We started arguing and his voice was getting loud because he was yelling at me and calling me names. I got so mad. I told him to leave or I'll call the police. He left. Then when my mom heard, she berated me along with my sister and the rest of the family, saying it's not my business to get involved between my brother and his wife, much less try to drive a wedge between them. They said I had no right to stop him from seeing his wife, and that I was in my sister-in-law's ear bad-mouthing my brother out of hate and pettiness. I told them I'm just trying to help out and support my sister-in-law, but they said that I'm being harsh on my brother and punishing him for years because of something my younger sister did. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Your sister-in-law said she didn't want to talk to him. You respected her wishes. He sounds like an absolute a-hole, and you should absolutely call the police if he comes back. The rest of your family sounds like a-holes too, and you should be within your rights to go low or no contact. I completely agree. I feel like sister-in-law went to OP because she knew her wishes would be respected. What did he do to your sister? Your family needs to get their noses out of it, and your brother needs to learn not to be a massive a-hole and respect your sister-in-law's boundaries. My younger sister left when she was 19. He always tried to control her life. She got pregnant 2 years before and he treated her poorly. He demanded she get a termination. Even drove her to the clinic himself to get her to fix her mistake. No one helped. I got into an argument with him after she left home and I cut contact with him. I don't know where my sister is now. She only reached out once, but my brother lied to her and told her we all disowned her, and we didn't even know until months later. I miss her so much and I want to tell her I'm sorry. My family didn't like that I cut contact with my brother. They said I can't punish my brother for something my sister did. Not an a-hole. No offense, but your brother is an egomaniac who should not be having kids, let alone be married. He made it your business when he drove her away to seek support. You were not interfering with her marriage. She came to you. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister she needs to contain her kids or leave our home? I, 26 female, live with my partner, 27 male. His grandmother, 82 female, gifted him the house, and the three of us live together. She's blind, and we help her out, though she's fairly self-sufficient still. My sister has 2 children, 8 and 5. Her husband suffers from early onset dementia and was moved into a care facility shortly before the first lockdown happened in my country. While fortunately we do have universal health care, still the combination of the cost of the care facility and not having a second wage made my sister unable to stay in their old home. I talked with my boyfriend, and as the house is quite large, we said she could temporarily stay with us, especially as it's been hell trying to find new accommodation now. However, we do feel she's starting to outstay her welcome. The main issue is, she's letting the kids run loose everywhere. You have to understand that this house is pretty big. We're letting them stay downstairs. They have a bedroom, a study, a small living room / kitchenette, a toilet, and a shower. It's essentially a small fully functional apartment. The floor above it has a bigger kitchen / living room / dining room, where they're also sometimes welcome for common meals. Upstairs is me and boyfriend's room, boyfriend's grandma's room, another bathroom, and a study. Work-wise, my boyfriend currently works fully remotely, and I work part-time and part-time study, also all remotely. We both need room / space. When we are both in Zoom calls, generally one of us takes the upstairs study and one the living room on the middle floor. Grandma will often also be there. She's quite a low-maintenance person, and it's perfectly possibly okay to work while she's listening to audiobooks and headphones or she's cooking. Yes, she still does. Now, I have told my sister that they need to stay downstairs while we are working. I think they have plenty of space. Yet, the kids keep coming upstairs for whatever reason regularly while one of us is working. They also keep toys lying around, and Grandma's already stepped on them a few times, hurting herself. My sister will also do things like use things from our fridge, which would be okay, but she doesn't restock. I found out that one day when I was out shopping, one of the kids had been in our bedroom, as some of my drawers had been rummaged through. My partner was also really not happy that the kids had been in our room unsupervised. To me, this was the last straw. I feel like we have been super hospitable, but she's taken over the whole house, not keeping the kids under control when we are working, and disrespecting our hospitality. I told her this is the last warning, and that if she keeps doing this, we will ask her to leave. She was in tears, saying I was mean, that my nephew and niece are just being kids, that she can't move now. But I'm tired of it. I feel like a stranger in our home. Am I the a-hole for setting this ultimatum? Now for the top comments. She was in tears, saying I was mean, that my nephew and niece are just being kids, that she can't move now. 1. You're not mean for standing your ground. You and your boyfriend / his grandma are being more than accommodating. 2. Just being kids is the worst excuse for letting your kids do whatever they want. Your sister needs to step up and be a parent. 3. She sure can move now, and she will, if she doesn't heed your final warning. Not an a-hole. Agreed. Let me add on and say that OP is a saint for what they are doing. And their sister really needs to show some appreciation when in fact she's doing the opposite. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. Your sister is allowing her children to endanger the safety and health of an 82-year-old woman who is the reason you and your partner had the ability to generously offer her a place to stay. That alone is reason enough to kick her out. If my daughter could learn at 3 years old not to leave toys laying around when we visited a blind friend down the street, kids who are 5 and 8 can learn that common decency as well. The problem is that your sister refuses to use the word no with them, and it's going to make her homeless. Not the a-hole. I was thinking the same thing about the grandmother. It's one thing if they get a little loud, but putting the grandmother at risk for a serious injury is too much. My sons are all grown now, but when they were younger and we were in someone else's home, acting like out-of-control brats was a huge nope. Acting that way anywhere was a big nope. I don't know what I would have done had they endangered someone's health and well-being. If the sister can't get her kids to behave, at an age they are perfectly capable of knowing right from wrong, it's time for them to get their own place. Not the a-hole. You are a saint for letting her stay as long as she has, I'm assuming rent-free, and she can't follow your short list of demands? I don't think it's unreasonable to ask her to not invade your personal spaces, stay in their living area during your work time, not raid your fridge unless she contributes to what goes into it. She is taking advantage of you and your kindness. Don't let her push you around. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not telling my wife that I had agreed to be a guardian before we even met? I have always said I didn't want kids of my own. However, I became very close with my niece and nephew. I babysat them and they've spent weekends with me. When they were little, my brother and sister-in-law asked me to be their guardian should anything happen to them. I agreed because they are truly the only kids I could see myself raising. Niece is now 11 years old and nephew is 10 years old. I got married 3 years ago and my wife felt the same as me about not having kids. She's very good to my niece and nephew. However, I never told her about what I agreed to with my brother and sister-in-law. Last year, my sister-in-law passed quite unexpectedly. It's been very hard on my brother, and my wife and I have been helping him out a lot. Last week, my brother sat us down and said he was updating his own will. He got a sizable life insurance policy from sister-in-law's death and has put most of it into trusts for the kids. He wanted us to be in charge of the trusts in the event of his passing. We agreed. Then, my brother mentioned adding my wife as guardian in the will as we never did that. My wife was confused, and I told her that before we even met, I had agreed to be the kids' guardian. She got all freaked out and started saying we agreed on no kids, this wasn't no kids, etc. This started upsetting my brother as he worried his kids wouldn't have anyone to raise them. We're literally the only options. I told my brother that I'd talk to my wife about it. She's pretty pissed that I never told her this before. I told her it shouldn't matter. Would she really let these kids be orphaned if their dad died? I said my brother dying probably isn't going to happen before they're 18. She pointed out we didn't think sister-in-law would either. She basically relented and said she'd become guardian but I'd be doing all of the work with them. I called her selfish for viewing my niece and nephew as a burden. Now we're barely talking. My friend has told me that I'm being an A and I can't be surprised at my wife's reaction. Upon further reflection, I wonder if he's right. Am I the a-hole? You're the a-hole. You tried to strong-arm her to something she never agreed on. Here's the proper way during the dating process. OP, I do not want to have children. Future wife, great, me neither. We are a match. OP, I have this deal with my brother though. Future wife, what kind of deal? OP proceeds to explain the deal. Then, your future wife could have made an informed decision whether she stays with you. Instead, now the problem snowballed to a much bigger problem. What else is he withholding from me? Exactly. Wife's position, no kids, ever. Husband's position, 2 very specific kids at a random point in time. I mean, no kids. OP, why would your wife ever assume that you would take these kids in with the agreement your marriage is based on as no kids? You assume that, just because you had these values, that your wife would help raise these kids. But you hid these values from your wife and never even allowed her to express that she does not share these values. You failed to consider your wife's feelings on the matter. You changed the terms of your marriage that you entered into deceitfully. And you're calling her selfish? You're the a-hole. Your wife is right. This should have come up and is a deal breaker. You can decide this for yourself, but you cannot make this decision for her. Your argument is weak at best. You're the a-hole. You knew how she felt about kids. And to say it shouldn't have mattered? Really? Of course it matters to some people. I'm not saying you shouldn't have agreed to be guardian, but your wife should have had all the information. So that if she married you and you guys end up with these kids, it was a choice she knowingly made. Or maybe she wouldn't have married you if she'd known, and that should have been her choice to make. You owe her an apology, both for not telling her and for how you called her selfish and tried to play off like this was no big deal. The last story is titled, Am I the a-hole for not making dinner for my husband after he was rude to our son? My son, 13, has recently got into cooking and he's amazing at it. Usually when he was experimenting or making food for just himself, he washed up. He started helping me out with meals, and 2 times a week now, he cooks dinner by himself. My husband has been insisting he wash his own dishes up, but I usually just wind up doing them. I don't particularly like feeling like I'm doing nothing. 4 nights ago, he sat me down and said I need to stop doing our son's chore. He made the mess, so he cleans it. He shouldn't be getting away with it. I replied that while it was true for small, single-person meals, it doesn't work the same for family meals. He got huffy about it. At which point I said, why does he have to wash up, but I don't? At which point he got kinda quiet. He tried excusing his behavior, but each time there was a flaw, and he basically huffed off. He came back a couple hours later and said something along the lines of, we have to make him realize how hard life can be. At which point I basically told him to buzz off. Here's where I may be the a-hole. I implemented a new rule. You have to somehow be a part of dinner in order to eat it. So for example, my son makes dinner and I wash the dishes. Therefore we both get to eat it. My husband was angered by this rule, and I replied by telling him to put his rubber gloves on and get cleaning. So far, my son and I have had 3 amazing meals, and my hub has left the house to go eat elsewhere. Our funds are separate, so it doesn't affect me. My son thinks it's pretty cool. He's always much preferred me over his father, and this bonding time is really important to him. But family think I'm being way too harsh, agreeing that he should do more chores. I disagree, but no one seems to be on my side, so I come to you, dear Reddit. Am I the a-hole? He's always much preferred me over his father. You don't say. That's because his father is an a-hole. The goal of parenting is to raise a child into a functioning adult member of society. The goal is not treat children like slave labor so they learn how goddamn hard life is. There's a lot of time to learn how hard life is. He needs people to model good behavior, stand up for him, and teach him basics of how to care for himself, his belongings, and his home when he leaves. You are doing that. You had his back when his dad was being an a-hole to him. You stood for fairness, instead of letting someone come in and treat your son poorly, specifically because he's a child. You're not an a-hole, but your husband absolutely is. What gets me is that it actually is a thing that you should make your children do chores to teach them how the world works. But generally, cooking for the whole family is one of those chores, and it certainly isn't how the world works for someone to have to clean the dishes for a group meal. The dude's got something in his head, but I don't know if it's a brain or not, honestly. Not an a-hole. Your husband needs to know how hard life can be. Ah, using his words against him. I like it. Sounds like y'all have way bigger problems than dishes after a meal. Might want to get to the bottom of it and take it to relationship advice. Yeah, I'm tempted to call this an everyone sucks here. Opie's whole attitude just makes this whole thing seem like a broken home waiting to happen. I feel bad for the kid having to see his parents go at it like this. And that's the end of this video, folks. As always, leave a comment and hit like and subscribe. And if you want more of this content, turn your notification on to get updated on the latest videos. And I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe. Am I the a-hole for how I responded to my mom when she said I wasn't invited to her wedding? I'm 15 female and my mother's 35 female, only daughter she has from her previous marriage. She has 3 children, the rest being 18 and 16 boys. This is important to know. Last week, my mom was talking to one of her friends about a color she wanted the bridesmaids' dresses to be. My mom had been planning this wedding with her boyfriend for the past 2 months or so. They have been engaged for about a year. The wedding is in December, and on the day before my birthday, me and my mom have been planning a party for me around the same time she was for the wedding. She insisted it was alright and that her boyfriend and her would go on their honeymoon the next day. While she was talking, I asked her when we were going to look for my dress since she had asked me to be the flower girl. I could see the disappointed look on her face when I asked her, which confused me. She responded only a few minutes later and said, "We'll talk about it later." A few hours later, my mom came to me. I thought she was going to talk about the dress situation, but instead, she sat me down and explained how her boyfriend thought it'd be a better fit for their 3 daughters to lead a wedding. Whatever, I was cool with that. But it's important to note that my mom had always wanted all girls. I was a girl, but I had looked too much like my father, which caused a strain in our relationship. My dad explained to me how my mother had postpartum when she had me and just couldn't connect with me because of it. So when she gave birth to my 3 younger half-siblings who all looked like her, triplets 6 years old, she was obviously overjoyed. It hurt to see, but I was happy for her. My brothers had a similar experience but were significantly better because they looked more like her. I know this is an overdramatic thing to say, but sometimes I feel like my mother didn't feel as connected with me at birth was because I was a letdown right out the gate. After she was done, I asked her again about the dress because I still didn't have one. Again, that same disappointed look on her face came, before telling me I wasn't invited to the wedding simply because her boyfriend thought I would upset his family because I was from my mom's previous marriage, and he didn't like my dad. She also explained how my birthday isn't happening either due to him wanting to go on their honeymoon right away. It turned into a screaming match, with me yelling, "I'm sorry I don't look like you enough for you to love me. I'm sorry you were too conceited for you to get over the fact that I look like my dad." I was kicked out by her boyfriend within the same hour because she had cried to him about what I said. All my brothers know what happened and have now refused to go to the wedding, which upset her even more. Though I don't care about how she feels right now. My brothers had an actual relationship with her and I probably just messed it up by letting my anger get the best of me. Am I the a-hole? Edit. I live with my dad full-time. There isn't any custody agreement that I know of. I usually visit my mom on my own free will, or when she asks me to come over, so I'm not obligated to go over there. My parents were only married 2 years prior to having my second brother, divorcing after his birth. They dated after the divorce as a way to make up with each other, but it didn't work out, but they had me. Now for the top comments. Info. Your mom has 3 kids, being you and your older brothers, but also she gave birth to girl triplets who are your half-sisters? Are your older brothers your full brothers? If they are the kids of your father, whom your stepfather doesn't like, why are they invited to the wedding? They are my full brothers. The only half-siblings I have are the ones my mom had with her boyfriend. My brothers were invited because they get along well with my mom and her boyfriend. My mom claims we argue too much and she wants to keep the peace, so she normally invites me over when she knows he won't be there. Not the a-hole in any way, shape, or form. This makes me so sad for you. Your mom, on the other hand, and her fiancé are major a-holes. Her mother isn't just an a-hole. She's a fiend in human form. I hope one day she's ashamed of doing this, but I doubt she's that self-aware. Not the a-hole. This is super messed up and I'm glad that you have the support of your brothers. Your mom is only upset because you confronted her with the truth. Exactly this. Mother is upset because her sons turned on her. What kind of mother doesn't invite her own kid to their wedding? Not the a-hole. Also, fiancé must have some real insecurities to be so jealous of the ex that he would take it out on the daughter. The truth is that both the mom and fiancé suit each other perfectly. It's like they both rolled around the same bag of turd and came out of the a-hole as one combined mess. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for threatening to cancel my wedding because my family were making bets on how long it would take my fiancé to regret marrying me? My wedding is supposed to be at the end of this month, but I'm planning to cancel everything and have a courthouse wedding because my cousin told me my family were making bets on how long it would take my fiancé to realize he wasn't getting the good little wife he was expecting and regrets marrying me. When I confronted them, they said it was just a harmless joke and that I didn't have the personality to be a submissive housewife, which a man like my fiancé would obviously want. My sister-in-law made a joke about making sure my fiancé didn't realize until after the wedding while I was confronting them. I was already upset, but her joke just made it 10 times worse, and I told everybody I was going to cancel the wedding. My family told me I couldn't do that because people would talk, and my future in-laws wouldn't be happy about it. But I told them I didn't care, and they could tell everybody why I never had a wedding ceremony. My parents are telling me not to cancel the wedding as I would regret it in the long run, and it would be embarrassing for our family and me for it to be canceled now. But I'm not backing down. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole, but have your wedding. Just uninvite your family. Not the a-hole, and why have you not just done this? Cancel invites for whoever is in on this joke. Hire security and make sure they are escorted out if they show up. I am with you, but honestly, Opie sounds a bit too immature to get married yet. That her immediate response to her family hurting her is to also hurt herself. Not really a healthy response. Didn't even ask fiancé how he feels about the now cancelled wedding. Like, if I am marrying someone and she cancels the wedding to stick it to her family, I'm gonna have a whole lot of questions/problems. Her family's literally betting against her marriage lasting. Screw them. If she still wants to have a wedding, she should definitely still have it, and just uninvite everyone in on that bet. Also, she said hubby doesn't care either way as long as they get married. Opie said a big wedding was expected as well. Not the a-hole. Next story. Am I the a-hole for defending what my mom said about our unborn baby and telling my wife to stop picking fights with her? My mom and my wife did not get along. Probably never will. I told my mom right off the bat that my partner was going to come first, and my mom said she understands that, but I can't make her like her, and that set the tone for our current distant relationship. My wife is currently pregnant with our first child. My mom did make a brief appearance at the shower and gave, to be honest, an awful gift. I know that sounds entitled, but based on her income, it was kind of crappy. My mother-in-law, on the other hand, is over the moon and seems to think this is her do-over baby. She talks about nothing but the baby. Both extremes are annoying, to be honest. Anyway, we saw my mom recently at the wedding and we're all seated at the same table. Some people at the table were talking about my mom's upcoming wedding and making a big deal about it and asking a lot of questions. My mother-in-law turned the topic back to the baby shower and then commented that my mom really doesn't seem excited. My mom laughed it off and said she's getting married, she literally doesn't care about anything else. I could see the hurt on my wife's face. My wife demanded to know who would say something like that. My mom said, nothing person, but her wedding is much more exciting to her than someone else's baby. My mother-in-law was horrified and reminded my mom that it was her grandbaby. My mom said yes, so not her baby, but her wedding. My wife mouthed to my mom, I literally hate you, and that was the end of that. After we left, I brought up to my wife that I don't think what she said was fair. They don't like each other, and my mom understands not liking the mom means she won't be close to our child. And to be honest, she's right. It isn't her child, but it is her wedding. I get why that is more exciting for her. My wife was very offended, said I shouldn't have taken my mom's side, and said I disrespected our baby. Now for the comments. Everyone sucks here. This was someone else's wedding, and you all were bringing drama where it shouldn't be. OMG. Imagine if you got stuck sharing a table with them. I don't know. Their clueless drama seems entertaining. Everyone sucks here. Literally everyone. You, your wife, mom, mother-in-law, and at someone else's wedding no less. What did the mom do? Repeatedly telling her son and daughter-in-law that she didn't care about their child, only her wedding. She was trying to hurt the wife and get a reaction. Mission complete. She deserves a pass. Mother-in-law and daughter-in-law were trying to make it all about them, whereas mom simply replied to their incessant prompts. Mother-in-law/daughter-in-law, why are you not talking about our lives? Mom, because it's not my life. You do you, I do me. Mother-in-law/daughter-in-law, but why? Aren't you excited for us? Mom, good for you for making this choice, but I still think I'm more excited about things I chose. You do you, I do me. They try to paint her as a bad person and she simply deflected their attempts. It's why daughter-in-law is angry at Opie. To be honest, I can see why mom decided she doesn't like her daughter-in-law. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my brother and sister-in-law they were inconsiderate to announce their pregnancy because of my sister? My sister, Dana, just had a miscarriage less than 5 days ago, which is why I told Nina, 24 female, and Kevin, 24 male, they were insensitive. My family just had a family dinner and we mainly spent the time comforting Dana as that is what the family dinner was mainly about. But then Nina and Kevin said they had an announcement to make. They basically said that they were expecting their first baby and Dana immediately started crying. Once her husband calmed her down, I told them they were very inconsiderate to announce that, especially considering this event was about Dana, not them. Also, the wound is still so fresh, so they definitely could have waited to announce or just not announce it where Dana was around. Not to mention, Nina is only 6 weeks pregnant, so she definitely could have waited to announce. Also, isn't it not ideal to announce pregnancy so early due to high risk of pregnancy? Nina and Kevin told me that the world didn't revolve around Dana, and that they had every right in the world to announce the pregnancy. I told them that yes, the world didn't revolve around Dana, but that doesn't change the fact they were still very inconsiderate to announce a pregnancy when we were legit comforting someone who just recently had a miscarriage. They ended up leaving after realizing everyone was on my side and told us we are all toxic for being on Dana's side when they did nothing wrong. Nina and Kevin definitely could have waited another day to announce, or make another meeting to announce it instead of doing it in an event that wasn't about them. So am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. The whole entire ordeal was organized to comfort Dana for her miscarriage, not for your brother and his wife to announce their pregnancy. Highly insensitive on their behalf, and sure the world doesn't revolve around Dana, but at the same time it did. And also, it's very bad luck and rare to announce a pregnancy at such an early stage. Yes, I mean to each their own, but the rule of thumb is 3 months give or take. A lot happens in the first 12 weeks. Some women don't even realize they're pregnant or miscarried, etc. So I'd say it's a little early for an announcement, but massive a-hole for just springing that onto a mourning woman. Not the a-hole. Nina and Kevin told me that the world didn't revolve around Dana, and that they had every right in the world to announce the pregnancy. Found the a-holes. That seals it. Who announces at a family dinner meant to comfort a relative who recently had a miscarriage? People determined to make it about them, yet can't understand why the spotlight is not on them in a happy way. Yeah, no. Not the time, not the place. I've noticed some people seem to think that baby news makes people happy. So they think if people are sad, then announcing a pregnancy or showing newborn pictures, etc. would cheer everyone up. But when people are sad because they just lost their own baby, that doesn't do anything except reinforce their loss. Nina and Kevin had every right to hold their own family dinner to announce their pregnancy, instead of hijacking the one arranged to support Dana. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to be present at my sister's birth? I, 21 female, have a sister, 27 female live, who will be giving birth in a couple weeks I guess, and she's doing a home birth. She has made elaborate plans for her labor and is excited for the process. I'm also excited for her too, but honestly it seems a little scary to me. I've unfortunately seen my mom's labor footage and it was not a good experience. I was legit traumatized. Now, the thing is that Liv wants to be surrounded by family while in labor. By family, I mean her husband and a few female family members from both sides. Her sister-in-law is coming and from our side, mom will be there. When the conversation came up the other day, she totally just casually said that we will get her through it. I told her that I was not going to be there, because I'm not sure if I would be able to stay calm seeing her agitated, and of course witnessing the bloody miracle of birth. She was surprised that I was saying such a thing. I tried to reason with her and said that I'll support her in every other way, like cooking or cleaning her house, but I just don't want to be there when she's all screaming and the baby's coming out. She got super angry and lectured me on how I was ruining her perfect labor plan. And then mom also got on my back that I was being squeamish for no reason. Liv then got super emotional and mom tried to calm her down and gestured for me to leave, which I did. I understand that Liv is emotional, of course, because she's just about to give birth, but I really don't think I'll be a stable person during that process, so it's better that I come after her. I have no problem in taking care of her, and of course I love the baby so much after it's born. But I just can't stop feeling so guilty for saying no to Liv, and of course she became quite stressed because of my refusal. So Reddit, am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Your sister seems to not understand the difference between an invitation and a summons. It makes sense when you realize momzillas were just a short evolutionary step from bridezillas. It was bound to happen. I came here to make the same comment. My God, she probably already has plans for that child. Perfect plans that disregard the autonomy of everyone else in her life, just like her perfect labor plan does, embedding crunchy mommy influencer aspirations. As a mother, nothing goes to plan. Nothing. OMG, this. I gave birth to my first almost 16 years and birth plans were just kind of becoming a thing. I asked my doctor about it. First, she laughed, right in my face. Not unkindly, but I really think it was her honest reaction. Then she very kindly said, I will listen to everything you say and do my best to do whatever I can for you. But I can promise you that nothing will go the way you plan it. Nothing. My job is to make sure you and the baby are safe and that will take priority. So my best advice is to go with the flow, and you and I will keep open communication the whole time. She was the best. And when I had a scary emergency C-section, I didn't feel disappointed or let down at all. Because mentally, I was prepared for anything. Not just what I wanted to happen. I just felt grateful my baby and I were alive and healthy. I think that social media has made expectations for so many things. Weddings, pregnancy, birth, motherhood, so unrealistic. And it's not fair to women that they then never feel good enough or that they missed out on something. Not the whole. If her perfect labor plan can't accommodate one person who isn't the midwife or even the father being absent, I shudder to think how she's going to handle it if there are complications, or the baby just comes too darn fast to gather everyone.